A massive, multi-day severe weather event just tore a path of destruction across the American Midwest and the plains. We're going to break down the sheer power of this storm system and the communities it left reeling in its wake. Okay, let's get right into it. To really wrap your head around just how big this thing was, just look at this number. More than 130 million people, from Texas all the way up to New York, were in the path of a severe weather threat. This wasn't just a storm. It was a gigantic, dangerous system that affected nearly a third of the country. And look, this wasn't some isolated one-off event. What we've all just witnessed is part of a really active spring weather pattern. It's been fueling round after round of these powerful storms and tornadoes right through the center of the US for days on end. Okay, so that's the big picture view. Now let's zoom in and talk about what this actually felt like for the people on the ground, the communities across the heartland that found themselves directly in the path of all this raw power. And we're going to start in Kansas, which really took a direct hit as some of the most intense and destructive parts of this whole outbreak rolled through. And the impact, it was just immediate. Now, thankfully, the good news is no deaths were reported, but people were hurt. You had homes completely wiped out, RVs just tossed around and flipped over like they were toys, and of course, trees and power lines were just ripped up everywhere. It got so bad that a local school had to be opened as a shelter, which really tells you how many people were suddenly without a home in just a matter of minutes. This quote right here, wow, it just hits you, right? The outside walls were gone. That was someone describing their workplace in Ottawa, Kansas. I mean, can you even imagine showing up to your job and finding the building has just vanished around you? It's a stark reminder of the incredible forces we're dealing with here. But it wasn't just about the wind. As this system pushed north into Minnesota, folks there had to deal with a terrifying 1-2 punch. Not only were there confirmed tornadoes on the ground, but also some truly destructive giant hail. So you had 3 separate tornadoes confirmed in the southern part of the state, just tearing through farmland. But for a lot of people, the bigger shock was the ice falling from the sky. We are talking widespread reports of baseball-sized hail. Just think about that. Hail that's large enough and dense enough to completely shatter windshields and just pummel any cars caught out in the open. All right, let's head over to Wisconsin now. The story there is a little different. Yeah, there was structural damage, for sure. But the biggest, most widespread problem was the crippling blow to the state's power grid, which just upended daily life for tens of thousands. Just look at that number. By the time the sun came up on Tuesday morning, over 25,000 homes and businesses across Wisconsin were completely in the dark. It's a perfect illustration of how a storm's impact keeps going long after the wind and rain have actually stopped. And yeah, a tornado did touch down near Gilman, and one family in Steuben literally had their roof peeled right off their home. But the bigger story was how those power outages just cascaded through the community. Without electricity, a whole bunch of schools in the Madison area had to close their doors, disrupting life for thousands of families. Okay, so after seeing all this incredible destruction, let's take a quick but really important step back. To really understand what happened, we need to be clear. What exactly is a tornado? So here it is, the official textbook definition from NOAA. And that phrase, extends to the ground, that is the key. It's what separates a real tornado from just a funnel cloud. And since wind itself is invisible, the only reason we can even see these powerful vortexes is when they're strong enough to suck up dust, debris, and condensation. All right, everybody, this right here is probably the most important practical thing we're going to cover. A tornado watch means be prepared. The conditions are right, the ingredients are there, so you need to stay alert. But a tornado warning, that is a whole different ballgame. That means a tornado is happening or is about to happen. That is the signal to take shelter immediately. So you might be wondering, was this massive multi-state outbreak just a fluke, some kind of anomaly? Well, when you zoom out and look at the spring season as a whole, a pretty clear and volatile pattern starts to show up. This timeline really puts it all into perspective. If you go back to March, Michigan declared a state of emergency, not from tornadoes, but from major flood risks after getting record snowfall. Then, later that same month, you had these monster supercell thunderstorms, which are basically the giant engines that create tornadoes, and they spawned twisters that tragically killed 2 people. All of which leads us right into this current outbreak in April, showing a persistent, dangerous weather pattern all season. So here's the crucial thing to remember. Even as some communities are starting to pick up the pieces, this whole threat is far from over. So, What does the immediate future hold?
Well, forecasters are warning that the same atmospheric ingredients are all still in place. That means the same regions could see another round of severe weather, bringing the risk of more of that giant hail and, yes, more tornadoes. And on top of that, all the rain that's already fallen is now funneling into rivers and streams. And that's creating a whole new threat of significant flooding, especially up in the Great Lakes region.
And that brings us to the big, lingering question. We've seen the damage, we get the science, and we've put it all in the context of an already violent season. As these powerful, large-scale storm systems continue to form, it really forces all of us to ask, what does this mean for the future of tornado season as we know it? What do you think lies ahead?